Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessica Morehouse, and for the first time ever in my channel history, I have a guest.
My name is Bisola Wisqueen. My channel name is Wisqueen. I create content on finance, entrepreneurship, and lifestyle. And Jessica and I were actually classmates in the YouTube Accelerator program, and that's how we met.
It was like this time, well, maybe not this time last year, but last fall.
December,
That's how we got to know each other, and she's been on the podcast. I'll link it in the description. And we also did a video on her channel, so make sure to check that out. Yes. But I wanted to have her to do this video so since we both have different perspectives, but we're in the same world, how can we kind of answer some questions, personal finance, Reddit, and just see kind of some of our advice is a bit different or some of our opinions and just kind of see where things go. So that's what this video is going to be about. So the first question is all about buying a car. Just purchased a new car for $26,000 and was planning on just financing the car and paying it all off immediately since they have a discount for financing with them and have no prepayment penalties. However, they gave me a 2.9% interest rate for 36 months. Should I just put all the money in a high yield savings account at 5%, withdraw the car payment every single month, or am I missing something that this would be a bad idea? Okay, a lot going on in there. My first thing is, because we do not know where interest rates are going to be in 36 months, if you want to really make sure that that money is going to get like that 5%, put it in a GIC.
Also for GICs, you have to make sure it's the ones that are cashable. Because if you put it in a GIC that is locked in, then he can take out money to pay his monthly payments, which is the plan that he has. I
guess like one way could be to do like a ladder instead of like a longer term one. But yeah, that's another kind of thing to definitely consider.
This is really tricky. Except you're able to get like a fixed rate for the car payments that you're purchasing and you're locked in and okay, you're sure that the interest would not be increasing, then I'll say maybe go for the car payment option. But if it's variable rate and you're not sure that anything could change tomorrow, maybe just pay the cash portion and just focus on the rest of the balance.
All right, so the next question we have, I'm 45, I'm married, what is my next move? Question is, should we pay off the mortgage at 4%? We're paying about $1,400 per month, or should we use the cash to invest and, beat that 4% interest rate? What would you do? Now, for me, when I get this question all the time, I think the important thing to ask yourself is, what would give you like the most sense of, I guess, fulfillment, security. I know when you do the math, typically long term, it makes more sense to invest your money instead of paying down your mortgage, which typically has a lower interest rate. But I also know a lot of people it gives them such a sense of like peace of mind knowing that they're going to be debt-free and mortgage-free sooner. So I think it's really one of those personal things where it's like, don't really think about the numbers. What would give you the most peace of mind?
This is where the act of personal in finance comes in, where you have to decide for yourself if you paying off the mortgage and focusing on like investing later on is more of a priority to you, or if you want to invest now and over time pay down the mortgage. Yeah, this is very personal. What would give you peace? Do that.
Okay, so the next question, and this is a really interesting one. I'm 16 and I have about $12,000 in the bank. What should I do with my money instead of letting it just lay around and not grow? So I see this a lot on social media. Now, we're talking specifically from a Canadian standpoint. If you are under the age of majority, you really are limited to just your savings account. You can't invest because you're not an adult yet. And I think that's good to have a restriction, because if I was a teenager and was able to buy stocks, I would have made some very expensive mistakes. I would have made good money. No, I would have made some very dumb mistakes.
I wanted to say mistake actually.
I mean, yeah, I like the idea. You always see that in investing books. Oh, if you started investing at 16, but also I don't know if I'd have the knowledge to really make the right decision. But really what it comes down to is there's only a few things that you can really do. You have to have a guardian or a parent to help you invest through like a trust or an informal trust or an RESP.
That was exactly what I was going to mention, that you can have your parents invest for you through using your RESP. And if you still want to get the feeling of being involved in your investment, they can definitely give you access, not access to invest or to do anything, but just to see, you can kind of see how your money is growing. You can see the contributions you're making consistently. And if you decide that you want to increase your monthly or weekly contribution that you're making, then you can see for yourself, but just like be involved, but not be the one actually making the decisions.
And this is also a great time, if you're already thinking of this and you're on Reddit asking these questions, you only have 2 more years to become, 18 or depending on if you age of majority in your province is 19, to start reading and learning this stuff. So when you are able to access that money and invest on your own, you can just hit the ground running and start doing what you want to do. All right, here's a really, really good question. Should I hire a part-time nanny money, or should I quit my job after I'm finished my maternity leave? Now, obviously, again, this is a very personal question. I do not have kids, so I'm just kind of giving my kind of perspective. There's so many things to think about. And I think really it's not just about the money. I know a lot of women that finish maternity leave and they cannot wait to go back into the workforce because they like their job, or they just, want to be around adults again, and they just want to have that, career. But I also know some people decide to quit their jobs because they absolutely love being a stay-at-home parent. Yeah. So I think that's probably where I'd start is, what will give you joy? The other thing though, and I'm sure you're going to talk about this too, is as women specifically, when we're out of the workforce, especially like, let's say we finish mat leave, we quit our jobs. If we're out of the workforce for a few years, statistics do show that it is harder for us to kind of get back to that same place and increase our income. So you got to kind of factor in
what's your long-term goal?
What's the long-term goal? Yeah.
Yeah. I think in the end, if you feel like, no one would not prioritize their family. Family is still important to you, but then it also depends on how you see your career progression in the long term. If you feel like you want your career to get to a certain level, then you have to think about the fact that you can't just decide to quit your job and be maybe stay-at-home mom taking care of your kids and thinking that 5 years down the line, then I'll go back to my career.
Yeah, the same
Obviously,
level.
It's not going to be in the same level, and you would have lost a lot of things. Even knowledge, things are changing every day. So it might just be like you're starting all over again. But then you have to ask yourself what the goal is for you in the end.
Yeah.
That would be my approach or my own advice. I don't have kids, so I don't know.
But yeah, just from our, perspective and having friends who've kind of done one or two of these things, it's something to really factor in. What is your goal? I think that's a great way to kind of phrase it. And to end this video, a really great, but I think, something to learn a little bit more about ourselves. Where can I start learning more about money, investing, just the whole shebang? So I'm curious, how did you get into it? How did you start learning?
So, I came to Canada like 4 years ago, and money matters back home, Nigeria, where I'm from. It's totally different from in Canada. We don't use like credit card system like this. We don't have like credit score and all of that. So I had to be intentional about learning how money works here. And I learned most things from YouTube. Maybe because I'm a YouTuber, I'm kind of biased when it comes to learning things online. My first point of contact is always YouTube. Watch videos to understand people's perspective. I also read a lot of blog posts, and I follow other creators as well. And I listen to them. So that way I was very well educated on things here. Then when I started my business, I opened my business account. I had a meeting with one of the CRA representatives, and they educated me a lot on how business taxes work here, personal taxes as well. And I found that there is a lot of resources on the CRA website that people actually do not utilize. So that's also one of the ways that I learned about money in Canada.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I love all of the great stuff that's on like YouTube and blogs and books. But like you said, there's so many, I feel like untapped resources. People don't realize that the government website, the CRA website, but also if you go to lots of financial institutions' websites, especially like the wealth management arm, they have a lot of like really in-depth like white papers that are, a little bit old school. It's like download the PDF, but they are really well researched, and like they've got some really good information that again are not biased because they're really just research education based. They're not about selling. And so those are some really great places to look at.
I would say even if you're learning from like things like YouTube or other people, you should still kind of fact check on CRA, on the government website. Just make sure that what information you're getting is actually accurate, because things can change with time, and people also speak about money based on their own perspective, just to also make sure that you're not getting biased opinions.
Absolutely. Always, not everything on the internet is 100% accurate, so do your due diligence, because, sometimes people will frame something as fact, but it's really opinion. So it's really important to do your fact checking.
And sometimes it's not even about them. It's just how they understand it.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes it's just wrong. Well, thank you so much, Bisola, for coming on my channel. And again, make sure to check out the video that we did on hers. I will link it in the description. But thanks so much for joining me for another video, and I will see you next time.